Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So today I'm Siffa Aprillianisari as a presenter from this presentation, and my presentation is about post-colonialism. My title is Post-Colonialism on the Main Character of the Short Story Dead Man's Path by Chinua Achebe. As you can see from my outfit today, this is like old outfit from colonialism era, maybe, I don't know. So I think this is fit from with my presentation. Alright then, the next is background of study. So according from Andres Suara, says that post-colonial research may reflect two opposite things to the colonial period. The first is there is a symbiosis between the colonizer and the colonized people. Good cooperation from both sides can create new life. And the second, there must be mutual insults, disagreements, deceptions, and ambivalent relationship. As a result, Western colonialism left a lot of impact of the colonized countries, for better or for worse. This affected most of the aspects that existed in the colony before the invaders came and occupied territory. Infrastructure and technology are two examples of the impact of Western colonialism that can be seen today. Okay, the next is literature review. I just have two previous study. The first is analysis of philosophical caste and growing up motive in ambiguous adventure by Che Hamido Kane and Dead Man's Path by Chinua Achebe, by Chibu Andrew Ikedoris and Chibuzo Martin Onungwo. I'm sorry if I pronounce it wrong, because I don't know how to pronounce it well. No, pronounce it correctly. So in this study, the researchers find new patterns of thinking by investigating the philosophical search and growing up motives in these two novels, using Heidegger's concept of dation and unconcealment. The second is analysis of post-colonial complexity in Achebe's Dead Man's Path and Quraishi's My Son, the Fanatic by Tapas Karma. The researcher discusses the post-colonial complexities experienced by people who are former British colonists and immigrants in England. The post-colonial complexity here means social and cultural problems after the decline of colonialism and the process of decolonization. So, based on this study and problems before, the researcher will specifically examine the issue of colonization in the main character of the short story Dead Man's Path by Chinua Achebe. Colonization influenced Michael Obi, who is the main character in the short story, to adopt modern life and Western thought. So, he is a young headmaster. Yeah, he got new promotion from Western people. She got promotion and he will be a headmaster in the old school. That his thing, the old school is not modern, so he will bring modern life in the school. And he has a wife too, and also he don't like old ritual that local people always doing in their country. While this thought is a form of colonization of thought to lower the rank of Nigerian culture, Chinua Achebe, as the writer of the short story, revealed that British colonization had changed the perspective of the Nigerian elite as seen in the short story of Dead Man's Path. The purpose of this research can be used as lessons that can be drawn from every event that occurs. So I have two research questions. The first is, how are the forms of action that describe post-colonialism on the main character of the short story that Man's Path by Chinua Achebe? And the second is, what are the effects of the form of post-colonialism described by the main character's action in the short story that Man's Path by Chinua Achebe? Okay, this is theoretical framework. This study uses the theory of post-colonialism, of course. The theory of post-colonialism is based on the resistance of the East with the West. In relation to literary works, post-colonial studies are applied in literary works to examine the depiction of Western colonialism and reveal colonial efforts, and also the violence experienced by indigenous people. With the theme of Western colonialism, post-colonial critics and students are challenged to see the problems of the colonial era that are depicted in post-colonial literary works. In addition, post-colonial studies can also help them trace the traces of the colonizer left behind, ways of behaving, the perspectives and thoughts of the colonized. Okay. The next is about methodology. So this is the researcher focuses on things that are described as a form of colonialism by the main character in the short story that Man's Path by Chinua Achebe by using a qualitative descriptive method. So the first, I collect the data, I read the short story carefully to understand the short storyline and clarify any explanation that are difficult to understand. And the second step, the researcher chooses strong data. In the data collecting method, the researcher reads the story and observes the dialogue from the short story. He then tries to understand and collect data and finally analyzes matters related to colonization. No, I mean colonialism. So this is the answering of the question. As you can see, there are 3 points that I will highlight this. The first is about education, the second is about cultural destruction, and the last is about post-colonized in the form of thought. This is for the first question. And the second is the effect of form of post-colonialism. The first is school destruction and main characters' leadership, the importance of tradition in community life, and the last is criticism of colonial and Western thought in main character. So this is the forms of action that describe post-colonization. There are 2 conversations. So in education, we can see this. This is the conversation between Michael Obi as the main character with his wife, named Nancy. "We shall make a good job of it, shan't we?" he asked his young wife when they first heard the joyful news of his promotion. "We shall do our best," she replied. "We shall have such beautiful gardens and everything will be just modern and delightful." As you can see this, just modern and delightful. So, as I talked before, that he will bring modern and Western thought. Because he thought that the school that he will teach is old. So he will change with modern life by Western colonialism. And the second is cultural destruction. What will the government education officer think of this when he comes to inspect the school next week? The villagers might, for all I know, decide to use the schoolroom for a pagan ritual during the inspection. What does it mean about this? This, he feels afraid. When the education officer will visit the school to inspection, and he worried how if the education officer inspection, then the local people will do the ritual, because he thought the ritual is very old and very not related in this era, so he don't like it, and he worried too if the education officer will don't like it too. So he worried about this. And the last is post-colonized in the form of thought. It amazed me, said Obi to one of his teachers who had been 3 years in the school, that you people allowed the villagers to make use of this footpath. It is simply incredible. He shook his head. The path, said the teacher apologetically, appears to be very important to them, although it is hardly used. It connects the village shrine with their place of burial. This told us about the ritual. The ritual is about footpath. What is footpath? Footpath is something the path. The path is used to connect the village shrine with their place of burial. When someone died, they will using that path to the quill, their quill. So the path is really important to them, because this connect the village shrine with their place of burial. This is very sacral. I don't know where. Okay, this is the school destruction. This is the, I'm sorry. The effects of the forms of post-colonialism. This is the answering of number 2. Michael Obi's behavior in The Dead Man's Path showcases the difficulties numerous societies encounter when attempting to preserve their customs in the face of modernization and Western impact, especially in education, society, and ideology. Efforts that seem to be focused on enhancing the village instead intensify the clash between two distinct. Okay, the next is school destruction and Michael Obi's leadership. Michael Obi had a plan to introduce a modern education system in the village where he was assigned. He aimed to establish a school that was progressive and aligned with Western standards. Nevertheless, in his attempts to implement modern education, he overlooked the significance of local customs. Obi, although he aspired to introduce contemporary education to the village, he didn't appreciate or comprehend the bond between the villager and their customs. He overlooked the fact that the modern education he championed needed to integrate with local culture instead of disregarding it. This led to an inability to connect modernity with established tradition, which ultimately deteriorated the relationship between these groups. The second is the importance of tradition in community life. Michael Obi sees local culture as outdated and insignificant in today's world. He declines to comprehend or honor the traditional practices that are integral to the lives of the local people. The roots he prohibited were utilized by the villagers to carry out significant ceremonies and rituals, which they considered essential to their social and spiritual existence. Michael believed that these customs and events should be discarded for the sake of advancement and modernism, failing to take into account their social effects on the village communities. This indicates that customs hold significant value for village societies. The root is more than merely a physical one. It serves as a spiritual emblem linking them to their forebears. In questioning these customs, Obi is not only questioning local practices but also their cultural essence. This highlights that alterations that overlook or degrade traditional values can lead to discord and opposition. And this is the last of the answer. Michael Obi's perspective is significantly shaped by colonial ideas and Western progress. He thought that Western knowledge and lifestyle were superior, believing that local customs should be eliminated and substituted with advancement. His logical and scientific mindset overlooked the spiritual and traditional beliefs that modernity and tradition cannot simply coexist without causing backlash. This narrative critics views that they value local culture in the pursuit of changes deemed improvements. And the last in conclusion, Dead Man's Path is a short story by Chinua Achebe written in 1949 after British colonized Nigeria in the early 20th century. Michael Obi is a young man from Africa and is the main character in the short story Dead Man's Path by Chinua Achebe. Short story Dead Man's Path is a story written to tell the post-colonial experience. The short story is implicit in the story. It reveals how everything is controlled by colonial powers. Schools as educational institutions can be used as a means to change colonial subject in colonial stories. So that's all from me. Thank you for the nice kind attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Dah.